Right now we have the pleasure of interviewing our current Bishop, Bishop Joel Washington Haye, and we hope that you enjoy this interview where he's going to share his experience of the responsibilities and also his vision of where we are going in the future. Pastor Joel, it is a privilege to do this interview with you here today.
Yeah.
We've been covering Knowing Your Church this month in Education Month.
Mm-hmm.
And in the words of Marcus Garvey, he says that a people cannot know who they are without recognizing their history and their past.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really crucial that we understand the pioneers that went before us and the giants whose shoulders we stand on.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want you to, you're the current torch holder, you're the current bishop that has followed the legacy of so many before you. What does that feel like? How does that feel to you?
Wow. It feels like a great responsibility, and the reason I'm saying it feels like a great responsibility, I think that the people that have gone on before, you know, the men and women, when I say the men and women, because ministry is not just about the pastor, but the pastor and, you know, as a team with the wife and with the family. I must say that it feels heavy at times because there's so much responsibility in order to transition into the next generation. And I feel that coming to the Lighthouse was something that I had on my radar. It absolutely wasn't something I had on my radar. I'd been around since the second minister was in place, Reverend Enos Gordon. And our family moved from London and came to Leicester. And when we came to Leicester, then we started to worship here. So I've been here right from the beginning stages, going right through to the point where we planted out a congregation called the Agape. That was a great, I would say, a great achievement in a sense, really, because it was having two congregations in the city. But after a time, you know, reaching many young people and so forth, the opportunity came to come here and to be the senior pastor, merging the congregations at the time. And so really, I didn't have that on my mind. Myself and my wife, you know, Pauline, we took out time to really pray into this. We took out time, we actually went away and prayed into it. And we realized that God was calling us here. I had a prophetic word that was given to me about returning back to my movement because I had other aspirations to do other things. But there was a call here, and I felt the call that the Lord had said was about going back to honor your parents.
Mm.
And so going back to honor your parents, you know, coming back, my parents were alive at the time when I came here, so it was absolutely brilliant. You know, Pauline's parents were alive. And, you know, the responsibility we felt for the brethren here was very personal to us, because it was not that we just come into another church, but it was people that we grew up with, people that we knew. And the thing about it is, when we came back, we buried many of them, including my parents, Pauline's father and then mother later on, and a lot of the founders. And so this is something that I feel captivates or captivates what we're doing here now in the Education Month, Knowing Your Church, because I felt it was very vital and important that the generation that is coming up knew what this was about, where it's coming from, with the opportunity to know that the shoulders that we're standing on, it's not my shoulder because they see me now as a new pastor, but also making sure that the legacy of those that have gone on is maintained. So it is a great responsibility. So I really do see this as a period where we're here consolidating things and in time to come to transition for someone else to come.
What really spoke to me when you just shared how you feel about this, the responsibility, is honouring your parents, and that has a spiritual and it also had a physical element to it, in that your parents and your in-laws were here and you were physically able to honour them. That is absolutely beautiful. And especially being here from the beginning, being a son of the soil, for them, I'm sure that was a beautiful moment in their journey. So, Pastor Joel, what is your current vision for the New Testament Church of God, the Lighthouse?
The current vision right now, our theme, and the Lord has got me on this for the last years, I can't shift off it, and the theme is the church living in community. When I say the church living in community, I think one of the things that is essential is community. The Bible tells us about this in the book of Acts, Acts chapter 2. This is how the church developed and grew. And we are losing many people, especially through this COVID pandemic and so on and so forth. And we're seeing the seniors that are passing. And we're seeing the fragmentation of also of community. We're now seeing more things on Zoom platforms and other things. And I think it's important that we foster community, live community, talk about community, no one having lack in the community, supporting one another, because I really do believe that the times ahead is going to denote that the church is connected by community, because you're finding in places where the churches are, especially the congregation where we are here at the Lighthouse, that it's predominantly a Muslim area, people who come into the church. So in terms before where it was a community where the believers lived within the vicinity, that's not the case anymore. People have to make an effort to come in. We're connecting with people online. And so there is a sense that if we do not do that, there will be a fragmentation where people just dip in and dip out, almost like pick and mix, but there is no community. And so the move is to build that. It's about the infrastructure of community. And by doing that, it holds the congregation together. So it makes the congregation stronger because we are one as such. And that's what my heart is. And that's a vision I see for this current season.
As you were sharing, I could see the founding of the church in the book of Acts and the principles being reflected there in your vision. And also when we look at British history, before the state offered the welfare state, it was the church that was meeting the needs of the community. So I can really see a congruence between your vision and history, church history and British history. So now I want you to think about your successor. So there's going to be someone that's going to carry the torch on from you. At some point, you're going to pass that baton on. Thinking into the future to the next bishop, what message would you give them?
I think one of the things that is happening right now, and the teams that are being built in the church at the moment, especially mainly, we've got a media team and various teams learning to work in a way that the church is functioning through ministry. It's not everything built around myself, and that's something that I'd worked hard to try to not have the ministry built around me. And it's not been easy, because one of the things that happens sometimes when things are built around the set man or the set woman is that when they leave, everything just collapses. And so right now, that's my heart and my vision, is that I'm setting the infrastructure in place for anybody who steps in. They are stepping into something that they can come in and it's functioning. The various ministries are functioning. Things are moving the way that it should. And that person can come in and they could spend some time just to engage with what is happening before they roll out their vision. And I think that is key, and I think that's paramount. If not, everything that we've worked for will just it will just diminish, and people would leave or or the minister who comes in, feels that, they need time to get things done. But the structure that is being put in place is in order to do that. Some people don't like me to use the term, about working myself out of a job. I'm not working myself out of a job in that sense. I'm working myself in a position where I'm doing what God's called me to do, and I'm raising up others to do what God's called them to do, working together as a team. So when that happens, the church then is strong. So whoever comes, the church is still functioning, and the congregation remains strong.
Bishop Joel Haye, that was a wonderful interview. During that, I could sense your love for God.
Absolutely.
Your love for the brethren here, for this church, a lot of commitment and passion for this congregation, but also your love for people and your love for the community. And I think that that's a real example and a legacy that will stand for you in time to come. Thank you.
Thank you.